So we are done with models, theories, geographical thought, and now the section that we have entered is economic geography and उससे जो भी related है. Economic geography. इसके 4-5 parts हैं. One is agriculture. Then you have development and imbalances. We have trade and transport. We have ICT. Development imbalances में या फिर अलग से लिख लो. Issues of energy and resources, water, land part we've done already. The energy wala topic jo hai, energy topics here. And as a part of development, you can also add discussions on food, security and the rest. And you also have industries. आप question देखेंगे, this section in general has about 6-7 questions. Paper 1, paper 2 मिला दें आप. I mean just economic geography paper 1 se har saal there are 3 to 4 questions, and this is one section that generally gets ignored in the foundation classes. Why? Because ye bahut applied hai. Okay, and you must link a lot of things here. You must link so you first must know resource distribution. You must know agriculture very well. You have to have an idea about development models. You must know what are the developmental imbalances, infrastructure, industries. इसमें एक environment का dimension भी है. Okay, plus there's also a political dimension. Think of conflicts, think of governance. इसमें urbanization भी आता है. Okay, so deliberately I have put this theme as economic geography theme. Like, and as a part of concepts, you also have to add some discussions on welfare geography. You might have to add something on location aspects. Okay, this is a highly integrative section. And paper 1 mein directly I was counting about 4-5 questions hai. On average, every year has 4 questions. And paper 2 may scattered across agriculture. You don't see it. But paper 2 maybe there are 3-4 questions. So be prepared for around 6 to 7 questions. अगर आप average करेंगे, that's okay. Into 10 भी लेके चलते हो, that's about 70 marks. On the higher side, almost 100 marks questions इसमें आ जाता है. So it's a very heavy topic in terms of relationships. So इसका ना एक thumb rule बना लेंगे हम लोग. Because in terms of discussion theories, they're covered under your models, theories. What is Rostov's model? What is growth pole concept? What is the concept of geographical basis of inequality? वो सब पता है आपको. What is regional planning? वो आपको पता है. अब सारा आपको apply करना होगा. Okay? So I will divide the conversation आपके format में. Okay? So what you should know about this topic is जितने भी resources हैं, you must know their location and have an idea about some data also. And I'm talking about not just India, at the global level. So I've taken up one question I'll take up today. Okay, so global level pe, I think if you know 2 or 3 activities, you are done. Energy pata hona chahiye, iron ore kahan hona chahiye, an idea about the ports kahan hona chahiye, what are the developing markets, and you are on. Okay? So have an idea about the resources. So the moment you see a question on economic geography, पहले resource आप जान लो. Second, quickly recall whatever are the development theories. You can easily use 3-4 development theories. आप Rostov's model use कर सकते हो, and you can also use your growth pole model. Use development theories. Then have something on infrastructure. Infrastructure में the most important is connectivity, roads, ports, okay, इनके locations, and know some programs. कोई program launch हुआ होगा, okay, 4-5 नाम जान लो, something like rural roads program or Sagarmala program or development of Northeast SAARDP program. Okay, yeah, your special accelerated development program for roads of Northeast, Northeast Divine. So if you know 3-4 of them, you're on. Okay, maybe a program on irrigation infrastructure. So just know the program called as Yojana. So programs का नाम थोड़ा जाने आप. Okay. So in resources, development theories, you know about the infrastructure, and you must be ready for a case study. And I think your Damodar Valley वाला जो diagram में last time दिया था, it's a very good one. Okay. Any development region वाला, where I mentioned कहाँ पर resources हैं, कहाँ पर dams हैं, where are the industrial locations. Okay. So if you draw one case study, so 3-4 possible है. एक Delhi NCR का बना सकते हैं आप लोग. Okay, go back and check your initial classes. I've drawn a map of Delhi NCR. कहाँ पर क्या industries हैं, what locations, what are the roads. Okay, Damodar Valley Corporation is one good example of discussion. And you can also discuss the industrial region of maybe Gujarat, Ahmedabad, Ankleshwar, Bharuch, Mundra Port, Kandla Port, the connectivity. Okay, so I'll draw one of them again, no problem. So एक regional map उठाकर, okay, this is for India. If you're showing for the world, I think a good discussion can be China, Southeast Asia, ASEAN. Okay, so know the approximate locations of countries, क्या cities हैं, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Guangzhou, Taiwan, Vietnam, okay, Hanoi, Saigon. So 4, 5, 6, 7 names पता होना चाहिए आपको. Yeah, how that area has Singapore for that matter. So some case study India ke level pe if required, or world level pe if required. And then while discussing development, I think you must also add some of the new elements in development. New elements में आप ICT रखो, okay, security रखो, and if you can add space, ये हर जगह लागू हो जाता है. Everywhere you can apply something from, okay, the new elements of development, ICT and digital. So I'll give you a list of programs. आप उतना रट के चले जाना. Okay, and most of you know this from the GS that you have. Okay, so this is kind of your canvas for any development. अगर agriculture पूछेगा, agriculture resources, land, water, forests, agriculture development theories, you can apply whatever you have. Again, Rostov's applies, growth pool applies, and talk about R.P. Mishra, how he added the elements of agriculture. Talk about India's concept of agro-climatic regions. Agro-climatic regions, वो add कर लो. Okay, talk about the concept of integrated rural development program. Okay, somewhere the idea of integrated development. You can add the concept of watershed development. Okay, जो भी theories से आपका link है, आप link कर लो आप. The concept of integrated development, and if you remember, we have talked about the concept of regional planning के principles क्या हैं? Regional planning principles. So this second वाला जो है, this is your theoretical aspects. Okay, development theories. This is the theoretical aspects. Okay. Then you talk about this infrastructure connected. So अगर agriculture discussion है, so talk about agriculture infrastructure, agriculture markets, agriculture roads, agriculture storage systems. You have the cold storage, agriculture processing systems, okay, agriculture export zones. Add something on that. Case study, I think Gujarat is a good case of agriculture again. Take up Anand, Kheda region, the cooperatives there. Dot दिखा के बनाना है. और talk about पंजाब का मैंने डायग्राम बनाया आपको ऑलरेडी. मेरा पंजाब डायग्राम, पटियाला, भटिंडा, अमृतसर, नंगल रीजन, okay, and how agriculture development has helped Punjab. So anyone, ये 2-3 एग्जाम से बन जाएगा आपका. And new elements agriculture में ICT, agriculture में security, okay, national security in terms of food security, in terms of disruptions because of disasters, floods and droughts आ जाएगा. Okay, and space to be remote sensing हो गया, space based assessment of land quality, water quality, aquifer mapping, and you're on there. ठीक है. So आपके 4 areas पूछ सकते हैं. Development from agriculture, development from the perspective of industries, development from the perspective of urban areas, okay, and development of the backward regions. ये 4 theme आपके economic aspects में आएंगे. Development of agriculture based, okay, agriculture. Second is industries, development industries, development and urbanization, development urbanization, and development in backward regions. ये चारों theme में ये canvas apply कर जाएगा. So when writing about urban areas, then use urban area specific discussion. Urban areas में resources क्या होंगे? Again land होगा. Urban area resources will be proximity with the markets maybe. Urban area resources could, again, industrial base है, will be raw material like coal or iron ore and so on, or ports for that matter. development theories around urban areas, urban morphology, okay, urban and agglomerations, urban and monopolies, okay, development concept of integrated development of urban area with the suburban regions. Bring some theories into this. Development, satellite towns, okay. Talk about infrastructure, okay. You're on. Infrastructure is MRTS, housing, energy infrastructure, and so on. Connectivity. Case study, Delhi NCR ban jayega case study aapka. Okay, and whatever modern. So urban areas hai, so very smart discussion can be on smart cities. Okay, and usme aap ek paragraph likh lenge aap. Okay? So remember this canvas, all of you. Okay, so resources, the theoretical concepts, the infrastructure, one case study, and some new elements. Okay? Okay, so that's one discussion. Now, you can have a paragraph. So I'm taking one by one. This is the first. This is the first one. This is your a canvas for any development-based question. Discuss agriculture as an element of development. Discuss urban, modernization or urban development as a part of India's overall development strategy, or industrialization-based development, whatever you have. That's one canvas. Okay. Second discussion is talk from the perspective of infrastructure. Infrastructure. I said the most important is roads पे पूछता है question and ports पे. आपके syllabus में है. Okay. Significance of ports. Third is talk about trade अलग से. So some data on trade. So I'll give you some data on trade also. Okay. India कितना trade है? What are the trade locations? What are the trading components? What are the trading basket of goods that we have? Trade deficit कहाँ पर कितना है? So a column on trade में, okay, data आपके पास होना चाहिए. Okay, and this year we also have discussions on agriculture-based trade, rice inflation वगैरह जो हो रहा है, because government of India has now banned export of rice. So ये important theme बन जाता है. Okay, so this canvas for overall development and a bit more specific, I said road and ports and trade. Now एक आपका अलग से this I will discuss. Okay, ICT का क्या impact है and space का क्या impact है. I'll have you write one page on these two topics. Okay, so if you revise this much, I don't think you'll miss too many questions, okay, from aspects of economic geography. Okay, let's start off now. So first question I'm discussing is discuss. I'm just giving you themes here. Okay, discuss food security from the perspective of conflicts and national security elements. Okay. So I was reading one of the documents of the UN. I'll just mention that source to all of you. Recently, the Security Council has adopted the presidential statement addressing conflict-induced food insecurity. So I think ये बहुत important theme बन गया GS के लिए भी और आपके geography के लिए भी. So it's addressing conflict-induced food insecurity. So I'm giving points on this. इसमें ना बहुत सारे countries के अलग-अलग okay, can say declarations हैं. So some of this I'll pick up and I'll tell you what it is. Okay? So this is your heading. Okay. Now, when you say food security, okay, इसके अलग-अलग elements हैं. Keep writing, please. One is the availability component. This is about production. Then there is accessibility component. This is about distribution. Then we have affordability component. This is about the prices and inflation. इसके अलावा we also have food security. There is a cultural dimension. We also have issues of social elements of inequalities. We're talking about gender issues. We're talking about the disadvantaged groups. We're talking about people with different abilities. We're talking about children, aging population. So broadly, these are the elements of food security. Availability component. So all of us know this. Please go back and check your notes. It's more detailed hoga. And most of these concepts have been given by FAO. To start with this itself, okay, the FAO availability components is production, accessibility, affordability, cultural dimensions in terms of acceptability. Okay. social elements, and the sixth component is about the health. इसको हम assimilation component बोलते हैं. There is an assimilation component of food security. Health issues like drinking water availability, like diabetes as an important element. We can have vitamins deficiency, we compromise digestions. Okay, there's a health element of assimilation. It's about assimilation, what you can eat or not eat based on so drinking water, okay, diabetes elements, okay, tuberculosis and so on. Achha, now iske alawa, okay, there is a temporal dimension of food security. There is a temporal dimension in terms of is it seasonal problem, is it a chronic problem, is it problem which is sporadic, now and then ho jata hai. Okay, so this element is the element of reliability. Okay, so aap kahin na kahin any answer of food security mein this must be moving in your mind. Okay, these are the elements. Now the question was, okay, what does conflict do? So what is the impact of conflicts on food security? Impact of conflicts. Now for this, the first discussion is you should know what are the major agriculture regions of the world and who are the major suppliers of food. The major agricultural regions of the world and who are the major suppliers. There are basically 6 of them. There are 6 major agriculture producing areas and they are the major suppliers. So number 1 is Russia and Ukraine. Okay, the major suppliers of wheat, the major suppliers of wheat for the world. Wheat export regions mein Russia and Ukraine. The steppes belt, you can draw this and show this. These are the steppes belt. The second is the US and Canada. Again, this is wheat and grain. Okay, the prairies और ये दोनों Russia, Ukraine and US, Canada, they are the bread baskets of the world. They are the bread baskets of the world and these regions, because of the temperate soils that they have, okay, because of the irrigation systems that they have, because of commercial large scale farming that they have. Okay, so Vitelsi ki classification mein, these are the large scale commercial farms. They are major suppliers. Iske alawa we have China for 4 products. China is a supplier of 4 products. So it supplies wheat, it supplies rice, it supplies soybean. See, when my topic is food security, I will not talk about all type of agriculture exports. The sugar export is not food security. Okay, say export of horticulture products is not food security. Food security में main आपका grain आएगा, pulses होगा, millets होगा, milk production होगा, fisheries होगा. ठीक है? So don't end up writing everything under China. Like China is one of the largest exporters of many products, like tea, for example. But I'll not add tea as a part of food security. Okay, so wheat, rice, soybean, and millets. Millets में the Chinese sorghum, जो जवार होता है, उसी का एक form है. The Chinese sorghum, millets. Okay, the next is Brazil and Argentina. Okay, so Brazil, Argentina are animal products, खासकर beef and meat. Brazil, Argentina. Now, one difference is Russia, Ukraine, US, Canada, China. They are suppliers to the developing world, Africa, okay, Central Asia. The suppliers, big suppliers to the developing world, parts of Asia, parts of Central Asia, parts of Africa. But Brazil, Argentina exports is more towards the developing world. It's more towards the developing world. So consumption of products is more in Anglo-America and parts of Western Europe. Developed, yes. They are suppliers to the developed world, parts of the developed world. Okay? So now see, when I say food security impacted, any disruptions from here impacts developing world. But यहाँ का impact will impact the developed world. जो urban consumption है, इसके अलावा we have Australia. Australia again, it's wheat products. Australia wheat products and also your meat products. Again, coming from the temperate grasslands, the downs, temperate grasslands, and also the tropical grasslands of Queensland, Australia. And sixth one, you can put it as New Zealand, you can put Norway, you can put France, you can put Denmark, dairy products and fisheries products. Now, this also is supplied mainly to the developed world. So, ये आपके major regions who are suppliers. Show this on a map, please. कहाँ से grain है? And so, if you look at the ये पहला हो, number 2, if you look at the consumers, we have the developing world and we have the highly urbanized and the developed world. The developing worlds में you have got 4 blocks. The 4 blocks includes your Africa, it includes Central Asia, it includes South and Southeast Asia and other miscellaneous, many of whom are the island nations in major areas. Miscellaneous, many of them are island because most island nations ka agriculture production is very poor. They depend almost entirely on imports. So North America, around North America, you look at Australia, around Australia, you look at parts of your Atlantic, South Atlantic, again from parts of your South America. So they all depend on nearby big regions. India mein, Maldives, parts of Lakshadweep and so on. Okay? And the urbanized developed world, we understand, this is the OECD countries. Okay. If you look at the problem, the developing world has problems of food scarcity. Food scarcity. And the problems are largely around low calorie intakes. This is problems related to undernutrition. Okay, so stunting, you have got wasting and a lot of vitamin deficiencies. Stunting, wasting, and vitamin deficiencies. Now, this world, they make up more than 3/4 of the world's hunger. Whereas the developed nations, these areas have problems of hidden hunger and there are problems of overnutrition, there are problems of obesity. Plus, इसमें एक additional component है, hunger problems of the migrants population. Every developed nations में, urban areas में, they have problems of the migrant population. ठीक है? So, ये भी आप दिखा सकते हो in terms of a map. So, source areas, and these are the areas which have problems. So, now what's happening is, so if you look at, our discussion was, tell us, how does conflict impact? So, can you tell me which components of food security will conflict impact? जो आपका listing कराया था मैंने, will it impact availability and production? Yes. So, ये हुआ है Russia and Ukraine में. This has been impacted. Will it impact distribution? Yes. Okay. The trade gets impacted. Will it impact price aspects? Yes. Yes, inflation. Shortage होगा, food inflation हो जाएगा. The rest are not the key components. अगर ये सब हो रहा है, silent और automatic impact होंगे, general automatically impact होंगे, disadvantage automatically impact होंगे. So conflicts mainly are about these three. They're mainly about these three. And iska consequence is also felt in some aspects of this. The conflicts hoga, you will have problems of cultural segregation and cultural specific impact ho zyada ho jayega. So racism बढ़ जाएगा, for example. Because you have this problem, maybe the children are getting ignored, the gender gets ignored, the disadvantage gets ignored. So I'm not saying nahi hoga, but key problem ye wala hai. So write down here. Conflicts in the recent times is a major reason for potential global insecurity of food. It says that the number of people suffering from acute food insecurity has reached 250 million. Okay, that's more than 250 million, the highest recorded in recent years. It's entirely a man-made crisis, but it can have very high snowballing effect. Next point. The world is 4 times richer than what it was 50 years ago. Yet the world faces more probability of famines and food security than what was likely 50 years ago. Next point. Ye facts hain, okay? Next point. Africa is the most fragile region, particularly the Sahel and the Horn of Africa. The Sahel and the Horn of Africa, where by 2030, nearly 670 million will suffer from hunger. It says, famine threats, next point, famine threats are more likely, and the 7 most vulnerable countries of Africa and Asia, Africa and Asia, alone have 35 million people on the edge, with women and children most impacted. Famine-like situation has existed in 2022 in countries like Afghanistan, Haiti, Somalia, South Sudan, Yemen, and countries of West Asia. ठीक है, तो ये डेटा आप यूज कर लेना प्लीज. Okay, what are the likelihood? Okay, in Southeast Asia, Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam are the most vulnerable. Next, North Korea is already famine-stricken and without a responsive democratic government. ठीक है? So, elements of food security क्या है and what areas? Now what happens is, okay, why food insecurity because of conflicts? Why food insecurity because of conflicts? Number one, 3 food production regions. 3 food production regions have been impacted. 3 food production regions have been impacted, which includes France, Russia, and Ukraine. France is also a major supplier. France mein conflicts, France mein unrest, Russia, you understand, and Ukraine. So 3 main, Europe main, okay, they have an impact. 1. Number 2, food logistics routes have been impacted. The worst one is the Black Sea route because of Russia-Ukraine war and the suspension of Black Sea grain initiative. Third, it seems like Russia is using food and grain supply as one of the weapons in conflicts, which is outlawed in international humanitarian laws. Is outlawed in IHL बोलते हैं. IHL, international humanitarian laws, where food cannot be used as a tool. Food and hunger cannot be used as a tool. The 4th, 6 conflict regions. 6 conflict regions have severe food problems. एक है Syria, second is Yemen, Afghanistan, South Sudan, Eritrea, and Ethiopia and Ukraine. Recent world में the 6 areas have serious food problems. Okay, Syria, Yemen, Afghanistan, South Sudan. Okay, or just write Sudan and South Sudan, both Eritrea and Ethiopia and Ukraine. ठीक है? So एक तो production disruption हुआ. Second is the supply disrupted. The 5th is the conflict regions also have deliberate racial and social discriminations. इसका example है, for example, in Afghanistan, the women and the Hazara population, they are the worst sufferers. The women and the Hazara populations are the worst sufferers. In Yemen, the North Arab belts bordering Saudi Arabia and bordering parts of UAE and Qatar, they are the most suffer. What I'm saying is, within the regions there is some element of disruptions. They are the worst sufferers. Then in Sudan, the local African origin population of the Darfur are worst sufferers. So pura region suffer karta hai, plus within the region some populations suffer more, okay, because of conflicts. Okay, and the 6th component, most of the conflict regions have additional problems related to other disasters that aggravate the hunger problems. जैसे हयाती में conflict poverty है plus the problem of hurricanes है. Yemen conflicts plus they have droughts and desertification. You talk about Afghanistan, they have got hunger problems plus they also have earthquake disasters. Okay, you again talk about Sudan. यहाँ पर भी droughts हैं plus they also have increasing desertification. Okay, so conflict में वैसे भी कम पहुंच रहा है, and these disasters they aggravate the problems of food insecurity. And the last discussion is that global hunger problem is a very much avoidable problem provided the food logistic supplies are not disrupted. There are climate change based concerns. There are climate change based concerns of declining productivity, water shortages and droughts, increased pest attacks, loss of harvests because of heat waves and floods, But conflict-based food problems are relatively more manageable in short terms, as compared to climate change reasons. Okay, so that's one dimension. कि conflicts तो है ही, problems of climate change है, it aggravating. एक third conclusion add करो आप, third part add करो, that increasing poverty because of economic reverses, pandemic-induced loss of employment, impact of technology related to loss of labor capability add to the problems. Because automation वगैरह जो है, so इसमें आप economic reasons related to economic depression because of pandemic, because of automation, because of a restricted migration. Okay, so conflict, problem. Conflict is aggravating the problems even more. So if you look at the food question, हर साल last 5 साल में there is one question on food security. Once about food security and population, they've asked about food security and droughts. Last time पूछा हुआ था food security and climate change. This time I'm anticipating food security and conflicts, or maybe food security in terms of even economic reverses, ये जो हुआ recession and the rest. So just know this, and ये जो climate change dimension है, this as a case study applicable for tomato inflation, applicable to rice exports ban, ये इंडिया में हुआ. We have had this in Russia also. ठीक है. Australia has been very erratic because of droughts. Australia बीच में grain exports ban कर देता है, wheat exports. So you can have this as a conversation. That's your food security. तो जहां पर I mentioned places. Okay, so ठीक है, बना ही लो if not. At least in Africa, the main food regions जहां पर problem है, ये Sahel belt है, the Horn of Africa है, and parts of your West Africa. This is the main hunger belt of Africa, and this part because of conflicts, and this part again conflicts, this part again Yemen conflicts, this is Syria. Okay, show this sketch please. Sahel and Horn of Africa, this is Yemen, यहाँ पर Eritrea, Ethiopia and the rest, Afghanistan, Syria, Ukraine. Yeah, please don't draw the complete world map. जरूरत नहीं है. Just show what you have to show. That's all. It'll save time and it also looks good. लगता है कि आप ना maps और diagrams के control में हैं. You can manipulate the diagram sketches. Okay, so major food hunger regions of the world because of conflicts. Okay, so that's one question. Next question. industrial location of the world पे examine the relevance of Weber's model in industrial location with examples from across different parts of the world. So आपको ना इस answer में you have to show all the 4 parts of Weber, which is industries that are raw material based, industries that are market based, industries because of labor, and industries because of agglomeration. आपको चारों दिखाना पड़ेगा. ये 4 component है Weber का. And then also show that how Weber is also compromised. कहाँ पर Weber compromised. So Weber talk in the concept of traditional industries. Okay. He does not talk about digital industries or 3D printing. He did not talk about effectiveness of long distance transportation. Okay. और ये political वाला जो component, there's a political dimension to location of industries. So ये 4-5 component Weber has not talked about them. Political component, think of industry shifting from China to maybe India. ये political reason. It's not because of economic factors. It's a political factor. Or think of your impact of IT revolution, okay, and industries which are high investment industries, say EV technologies. EV technologies are not typically based on Weber model. जहां पे investments हैं, जहां government के support हैं, जहां subsidies हैं, they'll come up. It looks like EV industries are market based, but they actually are investments and government policy based. Okay? Some of the examples where they don't apply. Okay? So let's take up one by one. I'll give the inputs. So raw material based. This is typically applicable for, और आपको word में बताना है. Okay? It's typically applicable for most of the heavy engineering. Most of the heavy engineering. So take the examples of iron and steel industries. There are 6 major centers of the world, and all of them are near, okay, or they have been near either coal fields or iron ore belts. Either coal fields or iron ore belts. Okay. So one is the Lake Erie region, Pittsburgh, Lake Erie region, and Pittsburgh because of Appalachian coal. ये heavy engineering, ये एक region है. Second region is the Ruhr Valley, Germany. Places like Wesen, places like Cologne, places like Bonn. They are Ruhr Valley based, coal based. The third is Manchuria industrial region. Most of them were Japanese colonies. Manchuria coal regions. So the Manchuria industrial region. Because of coal fields and also iron ore. Because of coal fields and iron ore. Manchuria, China. यहाँ पे एक area है called as the Mukdem Triangle. Places like Anshan, Fushan, Heiliang Jiong, H-E-L-I-E-G, Heiliang G-I-J-I-O-N-G, Heiliang Jiong. Anshan, Fushan, Heiliang Jiong. Okay, Mukdem Triangle of Manchuria. यहाँ पर iron ore भी है, and you also have coal fields, iron ore and coal fields. The fourth area, heavy engineering में, fourth area is the Volga industrial belt of Russia. Volga industrial belt, petrochemicals है, heavy engineering है, because of oil resources, because of coal, and because of iron ore. The Volga industrial region. Okay. Because of, I said, oil, because of coal, and because of iron ore. Fifth is Eastern Brazil. That's largely proximity to iron ore. A very rich iron ore region of Brazil is mines called as mines, Itabira mines. Okay. And the sixth is UK, British coal fields and industries of the Black Country, British coal fields and industries of the Black Country. Black Country is England, Southern Pennines. Okay? So it's all coal fields. Okay? Southern Pennines is all coal fields. So what you do is, यही part को आप दिखा सकते हो, okay, in a quick sketch without drawing the entire world map. So this is the Lake Erie region. Lake Erie region यहाँ पर है. This part is the Brazil regions. Okay, this is Germany, Ruhr Valley. If we can show this as Black Sea, this is Caspian Sea. So this becomes the river Volga belt, and this part is the Manchuria region. Volga, Ruhr Valley, Lake Erie, eastern Brazil. And you can have a quick sketch here. The southern Pennines, England. This is the England ka black country. Okay. And you can add one point here. It was lack of iron ore and coal fields responsible for lack of industrialization of Africa. ये पहला part the answer हो गया. This is the bulk of the answer. The next is market-based industries. Market-based industries applies to FMCG. It applies to automobiles. Or recent times में you also have IT industries. They're all urban-based. Urban market है urban-based. Okay, so FMCG में you can have mobile telephony, automobiles. You understand? So जो production FMCG mobiles का production units are mainly in 4 parts of the world. US में है, US has it. Koreas have it. US, Korea, China, US, Korea, China, and parts of Southeast Asia. In general, Indonesia, Taiwan, Philippines. ये markets हैं. Markets, consumption. And most of the FMCGs are near urban areas. Automobile centers are all near market centers. So world में automobile centers कहाँ पर हैं? One is Tokyo, Nagoya region. We have Moscow region. Moscow and Nizhny Tagil बोलते हैं. Moscow, Nizhny, Tagil. Moscow, Nizhny. Nizhny Tagil region. ये automobile area है. Canada में it is Toronto, Montreal, and Windsor. Toronto, Montreal, Windsor. US, it's used to be Detroit. Detroit and its proximity with the New England states. IT sector is also market-based. So Europe में है, urbanized Europe, France, Germany, Britain, okay. Then you have US and China, okay. So they are market-based. The next is labor-based. Now, labor-based, Weber model में, industries have moved towards cheap labor regions since 1980s. इस पे आप discussion कर सकते हो. Otherwise referred to as the labor wage arbitrage advantage, leading to deindustrialization of Europe and industrial growth in China, Southeast Asia. इसका 3 example लिखोगे आप. Garment industries of Bangladesh, labor advantage. Garment industries of textile garment of Vietnam and Indonesia. Now, labor advantage का एक और भी example है the shift of IT industries of US towards the West Coast, because of cheap South Asian labor, and the eventual shift of IT sector towards India. ये भी labor advantage, ठीक है? So आप एक map बना सकते हो if you want to make. Okay, so show this and compare with this. This is the traditional urbanized area. Is the area of Lake Erie, a heavy engineering. ये area में 2 advantages. There are 2 advantages. One is the market, and the second is raw material, largely the coal fields. So this is the traditional industrial belt of US, the Northeast. This is your New England states. The traditional urbanized, यहाँ पर heavy engineering है around Lake Erie region, New England states. Okay. और यहाँ पर 2 main, एक है market advantage है, urban market advantage, and the advantage of coal raw material. और इस area में not far away, it also has it also has proximity with the iron ore of Lake Superior belt. ये जो 2-3 आंसर है ना, see, I know most of you have not done the world regional geography in detail, not required. 2-3 आंसर्स में से you pick up all the facts. और यही बना के आ जाना, it's more than enough. So you don't need to know all the iron ore regions of the world. Okay. Now for this area, we have Lake Superior. We have the Lake Superior Iron Ore Belt. इसमें आप 3 जगह याद रखना. You may remember what's called as Mesabi Range or Vermilion Mines and Gogebic Mines. They are near Lake Superior. Mesabi Mines, Vermilion Mines and Gogebic, Gogebic. So अगर ये है आपका Lake Superior, this is Lake Michigan, Huron, Erie. So this part is Mesabi Mines और यहाँ पर iron ore belts हैं, Vermilion and Gogebic Mines. तो यहाँ से ship होता है, okay, through the waterways they come here. This is the Lake Erie region. This area has industries, the Lake Erie industries. Mesabi Range, Mesabi Mines, Vermilion Mines and Gogebic Mines. ठीक है, ये traditional belt है, and you can show that this is the new industrial regions of Western US. Iska development has been in Seattle, has also been on San Francisco, mainly because of the labor and location advantage in terms of climate. So US का जो economic fulcrum has shifted towards the west. तो एक map में discuss कर लो, that's enough. You don't have to go beyond this. Case study of US, okay, Weber का location pattern, and discuss this. ठीक है? So raw material based, market based, and this is your labor based. And the third and the fourth is agglomeration factor. Agglomeration factor. इसका best example है China. China has created agglomeration factors through its SEZ policy. So you have Shanghai belt. We have Guangzhou, China में Shanghai, Guangzhou, Hong Kong. You have Wuhan and Beijing, Tianjin. ये सारे agglomerations that China has created, okay, deliberately. And you can add here agglomeration में. This is one point. The second point is almost all industrial regions of the world are agglomeration examples. Lake Volga region, Lake Volga agglomeration, Moscow agglomeration, East Ukraine, Donbass agglomeration, Lake Erie agglomeration, Sydney, Newcastle agglomeration. Sydney, Newcastle. This is in Australia, agglomeration. So agglomeration is a common factor wherever we have industrial development. This is example through maps, kahan Weber applicable hai, and give a heading. Okay. However, Weber is not applicable in its ideal pure sense because Weber ignored 3 considerations. Number 1, Weber ignored the role of political decisions. That is, many of the location advantages are created by political decisions, which otherwise are not present historically. Example, China. In most cases, it was Chinese 1978 reforms that created advantages for China. And the SEZ policies. और China का एक और है, state-supported capitalism by creating large dominant economic MNCs. ठीक है? Second example, the same applies even for Korean firms. Korea में जो firms हैं, they are family chaebols बोलते हैं. CHAEBOLS. ये LG है या Samsung है, ठीक है? They are chaebol, they are family businesses जो कि कोरिया ने encourage किया है to develop. It's not entirely economic thing. Okay. Similarly, recent times में shift of industries or the slow shift of industries away from China. That's because of US-China rivalry. ठीक है? ये political fact is one. The second thing is the advantages of the more modern 3D printing, use of IT technology in capital investments, high speed mobility, air travel, bullet train travel, that makes labor mobile. So Weber ke model mein labor is not mobile, labor is fixed. Industry shift towards labor locations. So, but in reality, labor is mobile. The example hai, okay, the migration of labor from US into India and the rise of IT sector in Bangalore. From US into India, from San Francisco, West US, California into India, और इंडस्ट्री भी शिफ्ट हुआ. बट सो वेबर के लेबर थ्योरी में his model applied mainly to traditional labor, जो कि स्किल बेस्ड था and it would not shift from its location. वो नहीं था. इसमें मोबाइल शिफ्ट हो सकता है and with that industries can shift. Okay, the labor arbitrage example is also a type of your government induced policies. So examples बहुत सारे लगते हैं कि they are Weber based, but not really pure ideal Weberian conditions नहीं है ये. Okay, you can add this point last में that Weberian economics is an example of normative conditions that don't actually exist in reality. ठीक है? So एक food hunger, second is industries location, the third is space technology. I have a feeling that can be question on this. So इसका question लिख लो आप. What I'm discussing is, the question is, discuss the geostrategic implications and significance of India's space program. ये topics के लिए आप अलग से ना पढ़ो. The notes and the answers are your answer. यही पढ़ के जाओ, इसी को अप्लाई करना, इसी के आगे पीछे क्वेश्चंस आएगा. And I'll give you my content and whatever you can add from your GS content, please feel free to do so. Again, enrich it with whatever you can. ठीक है? So let's take up this space because काफी news में है. So some facts, 1, 2, 3, 4 point. The first is that India's space program is relatively more recent. 1960s से शुरू हुआ, but it has been more aggressive since 1970s. And 1970s onwards, जो strategic goals हैं, okay, those got added. After 1971, okay, Pakistan war, we added strategic goals to our space program. शुरू हुआ था very modestly 60s में. And in fact, when the strategic goal was added, that is when ISRO was separated from Department of Atomic Energy. It came under Department of Science thereafter. Okay, with strategic goals, it was separated from Department of Atomic Energy. इसको अलग कर दिया गया space. The third point, the beginnings of the space program was developmental and largely from the perspective of scientific research and expansion of India's knowledge domain. However, its scope is now more pragmatic, that includes military, strategic, and also as a tool for augmenting India's geopolitical advantage. India's geopolitical advantage. ये आपका शुरुआत था. So development wise, the first is the satellite launch vehicle technologies that have developed into India's missile program. It started with SLV-3. SLV-3 became the first stage of Agni-1 and Agni-2 rockets. So space vehicle technology tha, okay, that got developed into India's missile program. Again, this happened in the late 1970s and 1980s. Agni-1 and Agni-2 is SLV-3, and यही space technology जो PSLV है and the GSLV technologies, they have become the basis of India's Agni-5, Agni-4, and the range of ICBM capabilities, more than 5,000 kilometer capabilities. और ये जो initial Agni-1, Agni-2 था, this was about 1,000 to 2,000 kilometers का range था, which was not which was not responsive for Chinese threat. Delhi and Beijing का distance approximately is 2,500 to 3,000 kilometers. Delhi, Beijing. Okay. The first stage में it was conservative. Now India has ICBM capabilities with PSLV and GSLV rockets. और इसी में ऐड कर देना India's missile technology includes Prithvi range of missiles along with Akash and BrahMos. इस सारा space technology है. Along with Akash, along with BrahMos, is part of India's nuclear triad in nuclear deterrence doctrine. Part of India's nuclear triad defense, air, sea, and water. Okay, part of India's nuclear deterrence doctrine. Okay, Akash is surface to air missiles, air to air missiles. BrahMos can be shot from the sea submarines also. So, isme one paragraph on, okay, this one. The second is the remote sensing satellites, okay, and this has military grade applications for intelligence gathering, for reconnaissance, and for spying. Remote sensing satellites, they have military grade applications, mid-grade applications, plus intelligence gathering, reconnaissance, spying. You can add here border management. On the first one, the military grade tha, it was RISAT. RISAT was among the first military capability satellite, okay, for imaging. और इसमें ना 3 चीज हेल्प करता है. जो टेक्नोलॉजीज हैं, okay, one is the LIS-3 cameras, second is the PAN cameras, and third is beyond infrared imaging. LIS-3 cameras, PAN cameras, and beyond infrared imaging. Otherwise, infrared apne aap mein not very good, okay, for sir, because it can't penetrate the clouds. Beyond infrared is better, okay, for, and we have used this in Kargil war. We have also used this in Doklam ke troop movements of China. We have tracked it there. ठीक है. And जो recently आपके जो cartosats हैं, cartosats, they have got very high resolution. They have got very high resolution ground monitoring and ground mapping technologies. The third component of space program is the deep space programs, deep space exploration programs. Mangalyaan, Gaganyaan, Suryayaan, Aditya जो program है. So with the deep exploration, इसका 3 advantage है. One is India capable of demonstrating a high technology sophistication. India capable of demonstrating high technology sophistication. Therefore, India's credible say in global space governance issues. Historically, India has been opposed to military use of the space. Okay, but then if countries are doing it, we have to have our own technology plus also demonstrate that we can go the distance if it comes to the race there. Add a point here that historically, India has opposed military use of space. It was more scientific orientation, less of military and security orientation. Okay, but with high sophistication, with high space sophistication, space technology sophistication, India can assert itself in global forums to highlight security concerns. इसमें हमने 3 चीज कर दिया है. One is in 2019, India demonstrated anti-satellite technologies, ASAT. India demonstrated ASAT. We can strike at satellites also. We have done this. Number 2, India has an integrated space cell. The Indian Defense Agency है. Okay, it's where, I mean, India में बहुत, हालांकि India is trying to go for the command theater. Okay, where Air Force, Navy, Army can work together under a single command. But ये अभी हुआ नहीं है. But we have done this for Indian Defense Agency, which is like a information gathering and research. वहां पर हमने converge कर दिया है. Indian Defense Agency and it works in tandem with space agency. Okay, so essentially space technology is now used for military purpose directly. So, space जो भी survey है या जो भी information है. That's one. And the third thing that we have done is that India is capable of collaborating. India is capable of collaborating space-based strategic partnerships, collaborating in space-based strategic partnerships, like in space security dialogue within Quad. So India का एक objective रहा है that we have developed what's called as space domain awareness. India seeks to augment, increase space domain awareness. One is the maritime domain awareness. What's happening above the water, what's happening below the water, all data, information, conditions, सब हमारे पास होना चाहिए. The same we are doing for space also. We call this as space domain awareness. SDA is part of our Quad security dialogue. And it's only possible because India has demonstrated sophistication in space technology. Right further, it is under this that India can consider partnering with US under Artemis Accord. I hope you know what Artemis Accord is. Under Artemis Accord, अभी India इसमें sign नहीं किया है. Because India wants to do this under the UN. Under UN multilateral hoga, India will sign it. But then, Artemis Accord definitely is a strategic accord with the US and other developed nations. Okay? So India can consider partnering with the Artemis Accord. इसके अलावा, other than this, write down, using India's space-based assets. India using India's space-based assets like sharing its technologies, entering space economics, using ISRO's Antariksh arm for technology-based partnerships with countries like Japan, France, Israel, the US, which can have both civilian and also military objectives. You can add, then it can consider को हटाकर, you can say India has signed the Artemis Accord with the US. Okay, so ये 4-5 categories में. Okay, so ऐसे questions में ना, do not look for typical geography alone. Technology, geopolitics, whatever we are doing indirectly is part of your geography. So don't look for the typical answers होते हैं space location वाले. You need not have that. Okay. Okay. Now last point is discussion में add कर दो that space-based technologies. Last discussion. Space. See when I say security dimension, na, okay, I think in GS you understand this. Security dimension is not always alone military. It's also in terms of economic. There's also a social angle. Okay, there's also an environmental angle. Okay. So abhi tak majorly I have discussed security from the military perspective. जो strategy geopolitical है, but geopolitical, economic and environment वाला भी है. So discussion end करो towards that in the coming years, a major component of India's geopolitical role will be in the Indo-Pacific and in Central Asia in environment and disaster management domains. India has ambitions to emerge as net security provider in Indian Ocean and the key partner for humanitarian assistance and disaster reduction in Indo-Pacific. तो बहुत key important ambitions है India के. In Indo-Pacific, India wants to emerge as the net security provider. This is what the US says, is what India wants, that in Indo-Pacific, Indian Ocean mein khaskar, India has to be the main country for all type of security for the member nations. Not just military, it includes your economic, environmental, social, conflicts, migration. India has played a role in anti-piracy. India plays a role in monitoring the marine environment or mapping ocean water movement, keeping an eye on the trade movement, So ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट इंडिया का एम्बिशन है. प्लस इंडिया का एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एजेंडा ये भी है, HADR, like humanitarian assistance and disaster reduction. The speed with which we are responding to cyclones in Seychelles, responding to earthquakes in Syria, responding to earthquakes in Afghanistan or in, say, Nepal. Okay, so we are doing this. And ये दोनों में the space technology will be very critical. Space-based monitoring, space-based forecasting systems in disaster interventions and in security threats. ठीक है, और ये capabilities और augment हो जाएंगी if India is able to establish its or at least become a partner in any of the space stations projects. अभी नहीं है इंडिया का, maybe Artemis could be one of the beginnings. Okay, the space station इंडिया का नहीं है. So China has one, Russia has Soyuz, US has. If India can develop its own, it becomes all the more credible eventually. Okay? So space technology and what are the implications of that for India's strategy. So I'm done with this. Quad, agency, military. अच्छा, आप वो भी add कर सकते हो as a part of this one. Space technologies and India's communication system, NAVIC. In fact, all these technologies को ना एक box बना के you can also list down. Somebody checking quickly knows that you have covered the points. Missile technology program is from space. Military reconnaissance service technology is from space. Okay, space-based monitoring, space-based integration of the military. एक listing बना लेना आप लोग. India's anti-satellite capabilities and so on. Okay, I'm done with this.